There are a handful of words that just carry so much weight, and Armageddon is definitely one of them. It brings up these huge images of a final, world-ending conflict, doesn't it? It's pretty much synonymous with the end of days. But what if I told you the story we all think we know? The one we've seen in movies and read about is all based on a single, really critical mistranslation.
Yeah, for centuries, we've all been pointing to one specific spot on the map. But here's the thing. The ancient texts themselves, they seem to disagree. So in this explainer, we're going to do some detective work. We're going to follow the clues hidden right there in the original language and uncover a location that's, well, it's way more significant. Not just here on Earth, but in the entire cosmos.
Okay, so here's the story we've all heard, right? The name Armageddon supposedly comes from the Hebrew har-megiddo, which literally means Mount of Megiddo. So naturally, we look to the plains of Megiddo in northern Israel. I mean, it makes sense. The place has seen countless battles throughout history. It feels like the perfect stage for the final act. Seems pretty straightforward, right?
Well, this is where it gets interesting. Let's dive into this a little deeper. Because when you really start to look closely, that whole Megiddo theory, it starts to fall apart. The logic that seems so solid at first glance, it actually runs into some major problems when you check the geography, the language, and, well, the rest of the Bible.
Okay, so there are three big ones, three critical flaws. First up, the geography. Megiddo isn't a mountain, not even close. The Hebrew word har means mountain, but Megiddo? It's a plain with a small 70-foot man-made hill. It just doesn't fit the description. Second, there's a linguistic wrinkle in how the name is spelled, which we'll get to. And third, and this one is a huge deal, all the other prophets in the Old Testament, they consistently point to a completely different city for the final showdown, Jerusalem. So really, the crucial point, the entire mystery, it all hinges on that one single word, Armageddon. The secret isn't on a map. It's hidden in the subtle, tricky art of translating an ancient Semitic language into Greek. And this is where we find the key that unlocks the whole thing. You see, the alternative reading isn't har-megiddo at all. It's har-mo'ed. Now, this is a loaded term in Hebrew. It means the mount of assembly or mount of the congregation. And we're not talking about just any mountain here. This is the cosmic headquarters, the specific place where the divine council meets, basically the center of all cosmic government.
So how on earth did this mix-up happen? Well, it's actually like cracking a linguistic code. See, the Hebrew language has this unique guttural sound called ayin. The thing is, there's no letter for that sound in ancient Greek. So, when the Greek scribes were trying to write down Hebrew words, they often just substituted the Greek letter gamma for that ayin sound. This means the G in Armageddon isn't pointing to the GD in Megiddo. No, it's pointing to the sound in mo'ed. Linguistically, it's a perfect fit.
And this is where the dots really connect. Because the phrase har-mo'ed isn't just some linguistic theory. It appears explicitly in the Bible. If you look at Isaiah chapter 14, there's this rebellious cosmic figure who declares he's going to take over God's throne, which he says is on the Mount of Assembly, har-mo'ed. John, when he's writing Revelation, knows exactly what he's doing. He is deliberately using this super loaded phrase.
So, the next question is obvious. Where is this Mount of Assembly? Isaiah says it's in the far reaches of the north. Now, in our modern world, we think of that as a map point. But in the ancient world's way of thinking, north wasn't just a compass direction. It was a symbolic cosmic location, the place where the divine mountain, the throne of the gods, was believed to be. And the Bible? It repeatedly identifies this cosmic mountain, God's dwelling place on earth, with one place, Mount Zion, in Jerusalem. Okay, so just let that sink in. If Armageddon is really the Mount of Assembly, this changes everything. The final battle isn't about a piece of land anymore. It's the climax of a huge, supernatural war over who gets to govern the cosmos. It's basically the final hostile takeover attempt on the boardroom of heaven. Now, to really get the full picture here, we have to talk about something scholars call the Deuteronomy 32 worldview. The idea is this. After the whole Tower of Babel incident, God basically delegated the governance of the nations to a council of divine beings. Think of them like cosmic governors. But these governors went rogue. They became corrupt, and they led the nations astray. So God chose Israel as his own special inheritance, his direct portion, the one nation he would govern himself. So the crucial point is this. All of history, from that moment on, is really the story of this cosmic rebellion. And Armageddon? That's the final act. It's the moment when all those corrupt governors and the nations they control make one last desperate assault on the headquarters of the true king, the Mount of Assembly in Jerusalem.
Okay, so let's look at some other evidence and see how this all stacks up. I mean, if Armageddon is really supposed to be at Jerusalem, you'd expect other end times prophecies to point there too, right? And guess what? They do, consistently and explicitly.
Take the prophet Zechariah, for instance. He describes the final battle with incredible geographic precision. He says, when God returns to fight the nations, his feet will stand on the Mount of Olives, which lies right there before Jerusalem on the east. There is zero mention of Megiddo anywhere in the picture.
And hey, even within the book of Revelation itself, the final battle of Gog and Magog isn't aimed at some random northern plain. No, it's a direct assault on the beloved city. That's a super clear reference to Jerusalem, the heart of God's covenant people. It seems like all the prophetic roads lead right to Zion.
So when you put all of this together, the picture becomes incredibly clear. On one side, you've got Megiddo, a flat plain with a tiny man-made hill, a theory based on a single, easily mistranslated word. But on the other side, you have Jerusalem, the cosmic mountain, the consistent focus of prophecy, the absolute center of the entire biblical story of rebellion and redemption. The evidence really does speak for itself. And you know what? This shift in location also reveals a huge, profound shift in purpose. Because if Armageddon is really about defeating these corrupt cosmic powers at God's cosmic headquarters, then its ultimate goal isn't just about destruction. The goal is restoration. It's the final act that clears the board for a totally new beginning. So what does this battle actually accomplish then? Well, it's the moment that judgment is finally executed on those rebellious supernatural governors. It's how God reclaims the nations, all of them, back into his family, ending their long, long exile. It gets rid of all the corrupt middlemen so that humanity can be restored to its original job, governing creation directly under God, just like it was supposed to be in Eden. It's like a hostile takeover in reverse, a final decisive restoration of rightful ownership, setting the stage for God's kingdom to be fully established right here on earth. So think about it. What really changes when we shift our understanding like this? When Armageddon stops being just a place of destruction and becomes a moment of restoration? It changes everything. The end of the story is no longer about some final, terrible ending. Instead, it becomes a new beginning, a creation restored to its original, beautiful purpose. And that's a story worth telling.